question originally was, at that time, did you tell any other prosecutors on the prosecution?
I never.
With Mr. Wade?
Never.
Did you take, okay, so do you have no, what I would call personal trips or business trips to D.C. with Mr. Wade?
I never went to D.C. with Mr. Wade, personal, business, otherwise, never.
Okay, so.
I've never been in the District of Columbia with Mr. Wade, or Maryland, Virginia, the DMV as they call it.
So as I understand it, to be clear, any trips that you would have taken to see D.C.
That was a pretty clear answer.
Huh?
That was a pretty clear answer. She just said no.
Twice.
So do you have a variation or something new to bring up?
I'll ask it and we'll see. Did you take trips to D.C. that were non-business during the time period that this case or this matter was under investigation?
I'm going to object as to relevance as it relates to the matter that we're here before Your Honor today.
Well, again, the question already asked is, take personal or business trips. She said,
but that was with
personal
Mr.
or
Wade.
business.
That was with Mr. Wade. This I asked her alone whether she took.
Okay.
What's the relevance?
And what would be the relevance of that?
I'm trying to understand whether or not we have an ability to show a personal trip in which Mr. Wade is there at the same time. I understand her answer. Okay, I understand her answer, but we have documents, we have records that.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the documents, the things that.
Well, this could be something that's maybe not part of the record yet, but if he has I think there have been other things discussed in this case, and they have evidence that Mr. Wade may have been in D.C. at the same time. If you want to ask about that exact specific date, Mr. Sadon, you can do that.
I would reference to the court that that was not asked of Mr. Wade, not anything about any trips to D.C.
Sure. And so that's going to limit its merit and impact on credibility. So, Mr. Sadon, ask the question.
So
I understand your testimony is you never took a trip to D.C. with Mr. Wade.
That's correct.
Personal or business?
That's correct.
Were you ever in D.C. at the same time as Mr. Wade?
I was not.
On personal or business?
No, me and Mr. Wade have not been to D.C. at the same time. However, since Mr. Wade has been on this case, he's been to D.C. Since Mr. Wade has been on to this case, I've been to D.C. What has not happened is we have not been in the District of Columbia at the same time. Now, the only thing I'm not sure about with what you asked me is if I've been to D.C. personally, because I got a lot of personal friends in that area. But I know that I have been to D.C. I did an interview at Howard University. I went to D.C. for that. Seems like I've been to D.C. one other time. Oh, I went to D.C. for the Global Summit. Actually, yeah, those were two separate trips.
My next question is based on her opening the door, and therefore I'll just ask it, and Your Honor can decide whether or not it's appropriate. When you went to D.C., did you go to the White House?
I did not go to the White House.
No. Well,
Apparently I'm going to get the answer anyhow.
there you have it. Next question.
Okay. You indicated your best recollection was that your relationship with Mr. Wade, the romantic relationship, ended, you left it in August of 2023. That sound right?
That's the hard conversation. That's not the.
We've covered this. Next question.
And you characterized it as a tough conversation, correct?
Yes.
I'm not going to get into the conversation per
We
se.
should.
Well, if he doesn't want to, we won't go there. So, Mr. Sadon, next question.
You know, it's kind of hard to say no when you've got that opportunity. But all I'm going to say is, was it pre-indictment in this case?
So.
We know the timeline that the indictment was delivered.
Okay.
Well,
But,
actually,
and so that we're
I'll give you
clear,
that.
the physical relationship ended pre-indictment.
And is that when you were talking about the tough conversation?
But I'm not sure that the tough conversation didn't happen until after, but the physical relationship, so I'm sure if you ask Mr. Wade, because he's a male, he would say we ended June or July, because physical contact ended then. Just in my mind, being a woman, it's over when you have that, like, hard conversation. I just think women and men think differently.
And I think the answer, Mr. Sadon, to your question was she's not sure whether it was before or after the indictment.
Well, I'm not sure that was her answer, but let's see if I can get specific.
That is what I said. That's what I said.
I'll let you. Next question, Mr. Sadon. If you need to clarify.
Want to say one more? The romantic relationship ended before the indictment was returned, yes or no?
To a man, yes.
Well, to a man, yes. To you, no?
She's explained this, Mr. Sadow. She's explained this.
And did the forthcoming indictment have anything to do with that?
Ooh.
Or was it just a coincidence?
Let's go on and have the conversation.
I've just asked you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No.
Sure.
But I'm sure we'll talk about it further.
No, we're not going to talk about it further.
All right, no back and forth, Mr. Sadow. Next question.
My next question is something that that has to do with what I've characterized as the church speech. Let me just tell you what the question is, because I know that's not something.
Preserve it for the record.
Huh?
You can preserve the questions for the record, but then we'll move on.
That's correct. Thank you. When you gave what I've referred to as the Martin Luther King weekend church speech, you know what I'm referring to?
A great honor of mine. That's a historic African-American church. Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you have handwritten notes with you that you were reading from during the speech?
And on second thought, Mr. Sadow, because you might have a number of questions about this, why don't we just bullet point what you would want to cover on this to preserve for the record, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Since I had laid out before that the forensic misconduct isn't a
So
subject.
do I not get an answer for that?
That's right.
Okay. Did you read your speech?
Well, no, Mr. Sadow, for everything related to any forensic.
Oh, you just want me to stay
misconduct
out of it now?
We're just not. We can do it in a bullet form if you just want to cover what you would have asked, but it's not in a question and answer format.
Okay, so I should do that at this point, or do it
Sure.
when you're ready?
We can do it right now, so it's fresh on.
I'm going to ask her about, did she prepare the speech? Did she have notes on the speech? Did she read the speech? When did she do this? When did she write the speech? Who was she referring to when she was talking about others? Who was she referring to when she said they? Who she was referring to when she spoke in terms of their, that is,
I would love to answer those questions.
Well, Ms. Willis, you could certainly do that in some other format, but for today, that's what we decided we're not going to cover.
Who was she talking about that was playing the race card, and why she didn't tell the people at the church that she had had a personal / romantic relationship with the, all due respect the way it was characterized, the black man that she was referring to, and was the black man she referring to, was that Mr. Wade?
Okay.
That's that area of inquiry.
Noted for the record, Mr. Sadow. Next topic.
Okay. I realize that you've testified that you have no records that with regard to cash payments,
Yes.
correct? Mm-hmm. Would your bank records reflect that you withdrew cash from your bank accounts during the time period of 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023? I'm not asking you, I'm just asking whether they would reflect that you withdrew cash from any of your bank accounts.
So the exact amounts?
No, just
But yeah,
that you did.
Of course, I withdrew money throughout that time period, throughout my life. I've withdrawn money from the bank. Yes, of course.
Talking about cash from, that is, that you go to a
Cash,
bank
right.
or you go to an ATM and you take cash out.
Either that way, or you go to Publix and you overpay, or you go to another store and you overpay. So yes, both through that, yes, of course they would reflect that at times.
Okay, and so those records, if we had them, would show that, correct?
That throughout the course of my life, I took out money.
I was very specific. I said
Yes, during the course
2020.
of that time period, I would have taken money out. Yes,
So, do you have a problem with?
I absolutely. Yes.
You don't want the bank records to be made available for the court and the court alone.
I'm going to object as to the relevance, and this is already been addressed earlier as it relates to other records. This is an improper line of questioning. He's doing it for the purpose of harassment, frankly, Your Honor.
I'm just going to sustain it on relevance. Mr. Sadow, if that's something you want to follow up privately, you can do that.
Okay. Last area, briefly.
Yes, sir.
You had contact with Mr. Wade in the year 2020, correct?
Ooh, I had some contact with Mr. Wade.
Would you explain when you say some contact? Please tell us, talking about 2020.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade in 2020. One of the reasons your allegations are so preposterous, or Ms. Merchants that you have joined, is...
Ma'am, I didn't ask you about the allegations. I asked you about your contact. That's all I ask you, okay? I appreciate that you want to say something, but I'm interested in, did you have contacts with Mr. Wade in 2020? And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
And I do appreciate the
I'm not
characterization.
going to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
All right,
Well, I don't
let's
think
get
we should
back on
discuss
track.
further.
Mr. Sadow, next question.
Trying to, Your Honor. Would you tell us on the occasions in 2020 that you had contact with Mr. Wade?
I'm sorry, I thought I had answered that. Yes, sir, there were times in 2020 I had contact, but 2020 was a year I was running for office. It was a year that he was going through some serious medical issues, and I did not have much contact, but I certainly had contact with him in 2020.
Did you go out to eat with him?
Maybe, probably.
Did you visit him in any location, his office, or did he visit you in your office in 2020?
I am sure I'm sure, ooh, that's a very good question. I'm sure he came to 750 in 2020.
750
was my office.
Okay.
Not often, but maybe once or twice. Maybe I went to his office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
Maybe we would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza, or maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by each other's office, though, but not often, not a lot. We both grinding, trying to make a living.
Wait, I understand what you've said about the cancer, and I'm not going into that. But when you were going out with him to restaurants, or when he would come to your office, right? Those were not sterile environments, were they?
Oh, very sterile, because it
The
was...
restaurants were sterile environments?
A lot of times we wouldn't eat there. We would pick up something and go in, but they were...
I'm listening to you. You pick up and take it to where?
Maybe eat at our office, but it did not happen much. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And my office in 2020, nobody was coming in. I was stir crazy, so I would still go into my office. You remember when I started this, I said, I am not even sure if we came to each other's offices, but I am trying to be over cautious. So I think I can recall him at 750 a couple of times. I just think I can recall him at 750 once, but let's say twice. I have seen his office. I remember all the awards in the lobby, but I'm not sure in 2020 I went. I'm not even sure I went in 2020 at all. I just want to tell you yes, because I'm not sure. But I have a distinct recollection of him at 750. I actually don't have a distinct recollection of me at his office in 2020. But maybe I went to his office in 2020. Maybe.
Did you have ongoing phone conversations during 2020 with Mr. Wade?
Oh, yeah, I talked to, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, no question about that.
No question. I talked to him on the phone in 2020.
I understood, and this is, maybe I was confused. The Belize trip was for
His 50th birthday.
his 50th birthday, and that was in
March. He turned 50 March 18th of 2023. If you look at the dates of the trip, I think we were there about 6 days. We stayed at 2 different locations.
and you paid for it.
100%. He said, not only, I mean, I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flights, I had a birthday luncheon for him, I paid for massages, I paid for everything.
And would those payments be reflected on your
I
credit
paid for
card?
the cash.
You paid them in cash?
Cabs. I was telling you all the different things.
I'm asking you whether or not those payments would be reflected on credit card bills of yours.
So there was about $500 that I think is reflected on a debit card. What my recollection is, I took about $4 in cash with me to that.
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent. I probably gave $300 or $400 to this guy who was a taxi driver. He would drive us every day around the 2 or 3 days we went. Took him to eat like it was my trip money.
And you had, to be clear, to end this up, the 4,000 that you've just told us.
But I didn't give it all to him. Remember, I only gave the 2,500 to him.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you that 4,000 is part of your, my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Any circumstances to you or in
All
court.
right, back on track.
The hoard, cash hoard debt.
I would not classify it in that way, but I have money at my house. Yes, sir.
Okay. And the money, when you had money at your house, I'm speaking too loosely.
I had money wherever I was staying. So I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
okay, so when you were at what we said the Yerti condo during the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I stayed there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I want to see if we can get through a few more defense counsel if possible before breaking for today. Mr. Stockton.
Madam District Attorney, I'm Alan Stockton. I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Madam DA, you described these various trips, and Mr. Sadow asked you about going to Washington. Did you and Mr. Wade go to New York?
I've gone to New York. I've gone to New York twice since I've been district attorney. I'm trying to think if it's 2 or 3 times. I went to do a domestic violence thing there for sure, and I was honored, and I went to the Apollo there. Those are the only 2 trips that come to mind. I went. He was not with me.
You also said that he was a world traveler and had been on many of the continents.
I've been to 6.
Have you been on any of those continents with him? Besides this one?
Where's Belize? What continent is it? I'm not being funny. I don't know.
Let's say, with the
I've been
exception
to
of...
Belize with him. I've been to the Bahamas with him. I've been with Aruba with him. Don't embarrass me. I'm not sure what continents those are on. Whatever continents those are, that's where I've been. I'm sure if I gave it some thought, I would tell you. But whatever continents those are, that I've been to those locations, sir.
But not Australia or any other continents?
I don't even want to go to Australia. I do know he took a trip in December to Australia. I have no idea, I don't know anything about that trip.
When Mr. Wade began working with your office,
Yes,
he had 2 other gentlemen that worked in his firm with him. Is that correct?
yes. Terrence Bradley worked for him, and Chris Campbell worked not for him. They worked with each other.
Did you understand what their partnership arrangement was?
No.
Did he ever make you aware of how fees were divided or anything?
No.
Now, since you have been district attorney, the 2 gentlemen that worked with Mr. Wade and his firm, they also had contracts with your office. Is that correct?
I probably had 2. No, I don't.
I don't know if we've covered this to Ms. Willis, but I still don't know what the relevance would be of her testifying to this.
But I've had about 10 people. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to answer
Let's
or
figure
no?
this out.
Judge, respectfully, I think based on Mr. Wade's testimony, he had an interest in those contracts.
Sure. And then, but how's that been imputed to Ms. Willis?
I don't know whether or not she knew she was giving him that benefit. That's what I was trying to explore.
Okay. Well, maybe we can start with that question, and then if she doesn't know about it, then the ins and outs of all the contracts wouldn't be quite as relevant.
Judge, to lay a foundation for that, though,
Let's see where it
respectfully, I
takes
need
us.
to...
Go ahead.
two gentlemen that were in Mr. Wade's office, did they have what I think's been referred to as a taint contract?
So let me be clear, and I may get the names wrong. When I first became DA, the office was not properly staffed. And so I'm surprised any lawyer would take it, but I did a contract for like $60 an hour to help us out with first appearance. That lasted a few months. Okay, so I can't remember if Bradley or Campbell had that. I'm sure we can have records and I can tell you which one, but I just can't remember now. I liked their experience. Bradley had been a probation officer and a defense attorney. Campbell had been a police officer and a defense attorney. There's a reason I'm telling you this. Then that contract, like I said, it didn't last long. It was just, I was aggressively hiring. As soon as I got where I felt like I had first appearance, enough lawyers for that, I let them go. Then we had what's called a filter contract, but it was not filter for this particular case. I do have a lawyer who does the filter for this election interference case. When we're talking about filter, the contract they had that neither one of them has any longer, I now have another lawyer that does that for me. It was only for police brutality cases. It's for what I call the, so when I first got to be the DA, I had, the whole unit was called anti-corruption. It dealt with both elections and police brutality cases. I actually took a trip to Houston and visited the district attorney in Houston. They divided their work up, and I thought the way she was doing it was better than me. And so I made a civil rights unit. And so they did what we would classify as civil rights cases. Those are specifically the police brutality cases. When I first took over, I was told Paul had not filtered 5 cases. That was a joke. It ended up being the 101 cases. They weren't filtered, which is why I hired 2 of them. Eventually, we got it down enough that it was 1 of them. And then now I still have 1 lawyer that does it, but now I've been able to cut those cases down to like 30.
Can you tell me help me understand what the purpose of the filter is?
Yes, sir. So what a filter is police officers make statements in the line of duty, and you are not allowed as the prosecutor to know what those statements are if they're done in the furtherance of their employment. And in fact, if you know what those statements are, you're basically disqualified from the case. You can't have it anymore. So what our policy is, I think I pay them like a $50 flat fee. They pick the case up directly from the GBI because that's where those cases go to. And then what they are, the entire file, so the body cam, which is important because sometimes they'll make a statement to their supervisor on body cam, in the police reports where they write things. If it would be easy if it was just some statement of the police officer, but what you find out is these statements are embedded in it. And so what your filter lawyer does is they go through it, they either redact it out electronically or they cross it out, and then once it is crossed out, then they provide it to my team, and then we're able to look at it. That was not being done appropriately when I became district attorney. I thought that it had only been, so Mr. Howard had some Chinese wall thing that I didn't think worked at all, where allegedly those cases were properly redacted. That ended up being a joke. And so the 5 cases really turned into, I'm not gonna say all 101, but a vast majority. That is the work that Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell did for me. They did a really good job. All of those cases that we originally came with, they're done. Those cases they're not just done for Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell, they're done through my office. But obviously life is not stagnant. There have been new police cases. I do have a lawyer that is doing that work now. That doesn't work for me. That's same kind of deal. I have another lawyer that does filtering for this case, completely separate.
So in the same private office, you had a filter contract, then you had somebody else handling first appearances and so forth, and then you had a special prosecutor. Is that correct? I'm
just not. Ultimately, the answer to your question is yes, but I'm not sure that they did it at the same time. The first appearance contract was either $60 or $90. I don't know really how I convinced them to be able to take that, but I think because it was for such a short amount of time. And then I think I pay my filter lawyers, which I still don't know how I get away with, about $150 an hour. And I want you to understand, the AG pays special prosecutors $1,000 an hour. So I'm a tough negotiator. Paul was paying people up to $375 an hour. I won't pay anyone more than $250 is my max. I have a lot of lawyers for what I have that work at $250, and I cap them every month. You can't go past a certain amount of hours.
Would you agree that if Mr. Wade and the two other gentlemen that were in his firm were splitting fees in equal thirds, would you agree that he would benefit from the tank contract and also from the other first appearance contract?
I would agree he would make money. Yeah, so to make money is a benefit.
Just a thought, guy.
Mr. Durham, if you're still with us on Zoom.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McDougald.
I do have a couple, Your Honor, but it's a little awkward from back here. Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Biden did not consider documents that were produced by other entities with classification markings as his personal records. Now, I think, since the majority has tried to assert that there is a disparity based on politics in the differences in the prosecution, it's worth quoting page 11 of the
Legal terms, photo lady. Yes, it is abuse. It is pornography. What it isn't is sex. Okay. That's the difference here, photo lady. Okay. It is pornography, right? Child pornography, kiddie porn, and abuse. What it isn't is sex, and which is interesting because many times when Monica, we appreciate you. And it's a matter of time. Yep, it is a matter of time, but there's no rush. It's a matter of time, but there is no
person being prosecuted. And with that, I yield back to the gentleman from Kentucky.
When time's expired, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The ranking member is recognized for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, and
we are going to take another 2-minute break on Live Now from Fox. Stay right here with us. Always more to come.
taken by the committee this year be made public.
There's an objection to that. The gentlelady from Missouri is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank
Oh, please be seated. We stand for you. All right, everyone, you may be seated. All right, State, still your witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, State would offer in evidence previously tendered to defense Exhibit 6A.
Any objections? There you are. All right, State's Exhibit number 6A is admitted without objection.
May we publish to the jury, Judge?
Yes.
And Officer Cahill, just to kind of refresh the jury's memory, what is happening on this video?
On this video, I've made contact with Jose, and I'm basically asking him what information he has about the incident or anything involved with what we're there investigating.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, sir?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jose.
Jose? Okay. So you know everything that's going on with everything here?
I know a little bit, yeah.
Okay. You want to just step out and tell me, I guess, what's going on?
I honestly don't want to be involved because, but honestly.
I understand that. I understand you want to be involved. I mean, that's.
I have to step out.
Yeah, just because I just want to talk to you out here. Obviously, I don't know you or anything. You don't know me or anything like that. We're just going to talk here, just like I'm talking with everyone here. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on right now. Okay. You just leave it here, it's fine. No, you can leave it here, it's fine. No, it's alright, you can leave it here. Dude, we got it blocked, you're fine.
And I'm just pausing it for a second. Officer Cahill, the other voice besides Jose that we are hearing but not seeing on the video, whose voice is that?
That is my voice.
Yeah, I'll turn it off in a second. Alright, so tell me what happened with everything.
Well, she was having problems breathing, I'm guessing, because the mom fed her something. Like, what she threw up was soup and other shit, I don't know. Well, anyways, she was having a hard time breathing,
Okay.
Like, I already knew what it was from, and I was telling her to take her to the hospital. She didn't take her, you know? And it was from the food in her lungs. Like, she was having a hard time breathing, and every time I threw her on my back, and like like a baby, she was like that. And then, I don't know, she was fine. After that all passed, she was fine. And then, out of nowhere, she's laying on her side, and she's just throwing up constantly.
Right.
And I guess, like...
What was she throwing up?
Like liquid, like what she ate.
Was it clear?
No, it was what she ate. What she ate. It was soup, like she ate noodles, the animal cup, and fucking applesauce.
Okay. How long was she not feeling good that she was throwing up?
Honestly, don't know, because I wasn't there. I was just there to everything else, to the last part, you know what I'm saying? Because she was over there at her house. So.
Okay. Do you know who stays over there with her?
No.
Is it just her by herself?
I don't know.
You're not sure? How long
I got my apartment, maybe like, not even a year.
Not even a year? Okay, it's like on and off a year, or?
Yeah, it's on and on.
Okay. Has she ever lived with you or anything like that?
Yeah, one time.
One time? How long ago was that?
Maybe like a month ago.
A month ago? Yeah. Okay. So I know you said that you're not really sure because you weren't, I guess, in the picture with what was going on with the child care and everything like that. Are you frequently around the kids, or is it normal for you not to see them for a couple days?
Yeah, it's normal for not to see, like, because we get in our little arguments or whatever, you know.
Like, how often do you think you see the kids you're around?
Ask me that, I'm sorry.
How often do you think you see the kids or you're around them?
Oh, whenever she used to live with me, I saw them all the day because they were always with her.
And when was that?
Like a month ago.
So a month ago she moved out?
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks or like a month?
About
like 4 weeks?
I said about a month. Because I just got my apartment, I didn't want her to live with me. So like that, you know.
Okay. So you didn't really see the kids for a few days now. When was the last time you saw them prior to today?
Maybe like 3 days ago.
3 days ago? Okay. And how were they doing?
They were doing good. Like 2 days ago, she was doing good too. I saw her.
They weren't sick at all or anything like that?
She wasn't sick, but she was like fatigued.
Like
getting
tired?
sick. Like you could tell she was like getting sick. I guess.
Did she have like any injuries or anything like that? Did she get hurt?
Not that I noticed. No. She was walking fine, talking fine, everything. Like
Nothing
you
that you
can ask
could see,
her.
like-
She was really talking. She told me yesterday. She was fine. She was eating, talking, everything.
Okay.
And then I'm guessing the shit out of her.
Just give me 1 second. Okay. So 3 days ago or something like that, I guess is the last time you saw her, right?
Yeah, like 2 days ago. She
Okay.
was fine.
And
And then she was telling me she saw her last night, yesterday. And she was fine. Like she was walking fine, eating fine, good. Everything was good.
Yeah. So then today, what changed? Like, how did it?
Oh, I don't know. She just called me and told me you need to come, and I went.
What did she say to
She
you?
just said you need to come. And I was like, I didn't come, and then I saw it when I showed up.
You were like, what do you mean I'm running and come? Why don't you
No.
what's going on?
But she was like, she sounded scared, you know. So I didn't even ask her.
Yeah, where was she at?
I was in the home. She was at
At the friend's house? Okay. So she was at the friend's house and she was like, you need to come here. So and the friend lives in an apartment, the same apartment complex?
Yeah.
Okay. So, same apartment complex. You walked over there, I'm assuming?
No, I was on the street. I was at the Millers actually.
Oh, okay.
Getting something to eat.
So you drove back to the apartment
I
complex?
drove over there.
Okay, and when you pulled up to the apartment complex, what was going on?
She was like having trouble breathing, like just laying there. Like she was conscious and everything. She was just having trouble breathing. That's all.
Okay.
And then she was fine. We got her fine. Like I was over in her bed, patting her, like burping her, and then she was fine.
And what was her mother saying?
Nothing. We were just handling the situation. Like she was fine.
Can you just stand by the table? Just give me 1 second. I just gotta talk to. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, sir?
Yeah.
What's your?
All right, Officer Cahill, was that the extent of you talking to Jose that evening?
No. The full extent of us talking?
Okay, let me be clear. Did you talk to Jose about what happened to Mercedes any further this
evening? I believe we did have more conversations throughout the night. For the remainder of the night, we were in contact with Jose, and then eventually when we were transporting him as well.
Okay. With what we just heard, Jose told you, and based on your training and experience, was what he told you consistent with Mercedes' condition and how you saw her?
No, it was not.
And why do you say that?
A lot of the descriptions that he was using, as far as her being fine, multiple times saying she was fine, the injuries that I saw, the injuries that I saw were not something that had happened within a 3-day period, where he had said the last time that he was with her was 3 days ago. These were injuries that were far beyond 3 days, and the condition that she was in and those injuries, which were very apparent to be much farther past 3 days, myself, I would never be able to look at a child in that condition and ever describe them as fine.
And going back to what Jose had told you, did he in fact describe an illness or something of the sorts that he had seen within those last 3 days?
Yes, he described her as fatigued.
How long did Jose say it had been since Katrina, Mercedes, and Jordan had lived with him? if you remember.
He said approximately a month.
Based on your training and experience, did you find that his answers were consistent to you?
I object to speculation.
Overruled.
Based on my training experience, no, I did not feel like his answers were consistent.
I also object to an opinion from a lay witness.
Sustained.
Can the jury be instructed to disregard?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're instructed to disregard the last answer.
Pass the witness.
Defense?
Officer Cahill, we all just saw that video, correct?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that Jose was cooperative with you, correct?
Yes, he was being cooperative.
And he responded to your questions, correct?
Yes, he did.
And there was no, you had no difficulty with him in that interaction, correct? I mean,
Not
what we saw, was there any?
from what you saw, no.
Okay. And what you observed with Katrina was her, I believe you said that she did not appear authentic. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That she appeared to sort of be trying to feign emotion that she didn't really have.
Yes.
And the way she responded, you would agree, would be a way that no mother, real mother, would respond.
Judge, I'm gonna object to opinion.
Sustained.
Okay. Her response, was she crying when you interacted with her?
She was trying to give the appearance that she was crying.
But in fact, her demeanor was sort of, do you see anger? And was she angry? Did she have a hot temper? Did it appear to you?
The anger I saw was in her conversation with Jose.
But she was aggressive, correct?
When they were interacting, yes.
And based on your interaction with her, she was evasive in the information she was giving you, right?
I wouldn't say invasive answering the question, but I would say I didn't believe that she was giving me the full story. That she was, I believe. She was telling me
her version of something, but yes, but she was.
Self-serving? Would you agree? Self-serving?
I'm gonna object to an opinion.
That'll be sustained.
Her demeanor was, it surprised you a little bit?
I'm gonna object to relevance.
Overruled.
I don't know if I could say it surprised me. As an officer, we kind of have to be ready to encounter whatever we're going to encounter in the situation. I guess as opposed to surprising me, it raised flags that I needed to investigate this situation a lot more.
Okay. So based on your interaction with her, Katrina's response and her way she was acting raised red flags to you, correct?
Yes, about the situation, yes.
Okay. But you had never met Katrina before that night, correct?
Correct.
Nor had you ever met Jose before, correct?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness at this time.
Officer Cahill, you just talked about Katrina she was being authentic. Did you believe that Jose was being authentic?
No, I believe they were both lying.
Your Honor, I would object to opinion and hearsay, and ask for a ruling on my objection, and the jury be instructed to disregard.
Judge, I believe she opened the door.
All right, the parties approach. All right, the objection is sustained. Ladies and gentlemen, you're to disregard that last answer. All right, State.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Cahill, did Jose show any concern for Mercedes?
I don't believe so.
Defense asked you questions about Katrina having a conversation with Jose. I believe you've already answered this, but what was Katrina's demeanor during that phone conversation?
So she started off by basically trying to follow what I was asking her to do, to have the child brought to the hospital. There was a discussion about the phone, and as soon as the discussion about...
Your Honor, I would object to the hearsay. Sustained.
At one point...
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Once an objection is made, I'll make a ruling. If you don't understand my ruling, just let me know. I sustain the objection, so they're going to ask you another question.
Judge, can we have a vote?
No. Ask your next question.
Well, Judge, at this time, I believe defense, by talking about the phone conversation between Katrina and Jose, has opened the door. We'd like to reoffer State's Exhibit 5 under excited utterance.
All right, that objection will be, well, I'm sorry, do you have any objection to that?
Yes, I do have an objection to that, because I don't believe that door has been opened. I don't believe that's the kind of thing that could open the door.
All right, outside of the door not being open, which is what you're saying, what are your other objections, or do you have other objections?
Yes, I have other objections. First of all, I didn't ask about the contents of the conversation, just her demeanor. So I want to be clear about that. And I believe it's hearsay, irrelevant, and prejudicial.
All right, the objection to hearsay will be sustained.
I'll pass the witness.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused or subject to recall?
He's excused from the state.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. You're not allowed to do anything. One of the parties may call you back, so make sure you're available.
And Judge, he lives out of state.
All right, so one of the parties may call you back. Make sure you're available. All right, thank you. Call your next witness.
State calls Julie Romo.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. Would you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record, please.
Julie Romo.
All right, make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury and the court reporter can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
State.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Romo.
Good afternoon.
Can you please spell your last name for the court reporter?
Rummel.
How are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a captain.
What do you do?
I run a shift, run a unit in Hondo, Texas.
How long have you
I started in 2011, left for Child Protective Services, and then came back in August of 2022.
So you said you left for Child Protective Services?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you work with Child Protective Services?
I believe 2.5 years.
Were you working with Child Protective Services in February of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
What were your duties back then?
I would investigate all cases. I was on the night unit. We'd be working from Tuesday through Friday from 1 p.m. to midnight, and I would investigate all the cases that came in that I was assigned by my supervisor.
How did those cases, how did the cases come into CPS to the point you're going to send an investigator?
It depends. The hospital would call in the case, law enforcement, or concerned citizens.
What kind of steps did you, or what things do you do as a CPS investigator?
As a CPS investigator, I would investigate all types of cases from neglect all the way up to child fatalities.
How would do you go about investigating kind of like police officers do? What steps do you take to?
First, I would interview family members, friends close to the family, collaterals, which our friends, contacts of the family would give us, and also make sure the children were safe.
And during your time as an investigator, you said that you worked kind of like a shift that lasted all kind of afternoon and evening up till midnight.
That's correct, ma'am.
Back on February 7th, 2022, were you sent anywhere regarding a child by the name of Mercedes Lozoya?
I was sent to a hospital. I can't remember the name of the hospital though.
Does Texas Vista sound familiar?
Yes.
And is that here in San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know if that hospital is still operating?
I'm not sure.
So when you were dispatched, were you told what kind of call it was, or
I was informed it was a child fatality.
what happened when you first got to the hospital? Who did you first make contact with?
I first made contact with, I believe, the officer and that was watching over Jordan, the sibling of Mercedes, and then I made contact with the medical personnel as well to find out the logistics of everything that occurred. That way I can contact my supervisor.
And kind of what's the purpose of kind of getting all that initial information from people?
In a case like that, it was to meet with the district attorney so we could file for a removal of Jordan from the mother.
So at that night, did you also see Mercedes?
I did.
Did you see her before or after you spoke to her sister Jordan?
After.
So when you came in, do you know about what time you got to the hospital? Was it late at night?
I know it was evening time and it was already dark, but I don't know exactly what time.
What was your primary purpose for being at the hospital that night?
My primary purpose was to ensure that Jordan was safe that night.
When you made contact with Jordan, was she there at the hospital?
She was.
What types of things do you do when talking to a child like Jordan to make sure they're okay?
I talk to them. I get down on their level to make sure that they're feel safe and secure with me first before we take any further steps. Because if they don't feel safe and secure with us, then they might be more hesitant to go with us. I ensured that she was doing okay and she was seen by medical personnel as well.
How long were you able to talk to Jordan that night?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall how old she was?
I want to say about 6, if I recall correctly.
What was her demeanor at that point when you talked to her?
She was still her happy self. She wasn't aware of anything that occurred yet. So she was still happy, very talkative. We made sure we got her some food and made sure she ate that evening, and then, got her in a safe place that night.
Did you or the medical personnel inspect her for injuries?
Yes.
Did she have any injuries that you
No,
observed?
not that I observed.
How did she present in terms of clothing and appearance?
She appeared clean from what I remember. I believe the hospital gave her a stuffed animal, if I remember correctly. But as far as her demeanor, she was well nourished and clean.
And you said that at some point that night you also viewed Mercedes
I did.
May I approach her?
Yes.
I'm sure you have already been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit 3. Is this Mercedes in that photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is this how she appeared when you were viewing her in the hospital that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 7. Do you recognize the two girls in this photograph?
Yes, that's Mercedes and Jordan.
Okay. Is this a fair and accurate representation of what Jordan especially looked like back then?
Yes, ma'am.
And you recognize both children?
Yes, ma'am.
David offers State Exhibit 7 evidence. Thank you.
No objection, Your Honor. State's Exhibit number 7 is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Granted.
So the girl on the left, who's that?
That's Jordan.
Okay. And then the girl in the middle, who's that?
That's Mercedes.
Is Jordan older or younger than Mercedes?
She's older.
She's older. Do you know by how much?
I want to say give or take 2 years.
And you said that she at that point did not know what had happened to her sister.
That's correct.
When you went in and saw Mercedes, what was the condition of her body?
It was very bruised, teeth missing, toenails missing. There were little like thumbtack wounds on the bottom of her feet as well. Clumps of hair missing. It was very, very bad.
Would it be safe to say those were extensive injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there anybody else from CPS with you that night?
There was. It was Special Investigator Anthony Adame.
And was he doing the investigation with you?
Yes, we were running it together.
And which one of you ended up being the primary investigator on the case?
I guess I was the one that would have to close out the case and everything.
But you two worked together, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And was he also in the room with you when you interviewed Jordan?
I don't recall.
Was he in the room with you when you observed Mercedes?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you guys have to take photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you in the room when those photographs were taken?
I was the one taking the photographs, yes.
Do you remember, did you speak to anybody else that night about what had happened? Did you speak to Katrina or Jose or anyone else that night?
I believe I spoke to her dad, if I remember correctly, and her stepmom outside of the hospital.
Katrina's dad and stepmom?
Yes.
Okay. What was the next step in the investigation you guys did?
We filed for the removal of Jordan. I placed her in a home and then set Jordan up for a forensic interview.
So tell the jury what a forensic interview is.
A forensic interview is conducted at Child Safe, where there's special interviewers that know exactly what questions to ask regarding severe cases, one similar like this.
So it's conducted by a different person, the one who does the interviewing?
That's correct, ma'am.
Are you guys in the room when the kids are interviewed?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what do you guys do during the interview?
We're watching over a video, kind of like a Zoom, but it's just a video from one room to the other.
And what is Child Safe?
Child Safe is a place where they conduct interviews with anywhere from ranging from a sexual abuse case to child fatality case, more severe cases where an investigator with CPS would not be conducting the interview.
To your knowledge, is Child Safe an investigative entity or is it more neutral?
It's neutral.
And so you said that you got Jordan scheduled for a forensic, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Do you recall when that interview took place?
I do not.
Okay. would it have been in the next day or so after this?
That's correct.
After you arrived at the hospital and spoke to Jordan, did Jordan have any further contact with her mother or with Jose Ruiz?
She did not.
So she was moved immediately that night?
Yes, ma'am.
And immediately placed in CPS's care?
That's correct, ma'am.
After the forensic interview, you said you watched it, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, ma'am.
Okay. What is the next step that you took?
We were trying to find family members that would have been suitable to place Jordan in, and continue to ensure that she was safe in where she was placed.
Do you recall if you went anywhere else as part of your investigation to anyone's house or apartment?
I did go to a couple family members' house, and then where she was placed with her, I want to say her great aunt. I went to her house and conducted interviews with her and her mother, I believe, to ensure that was going to be safe. Took pictures of the home, and then we got that processed so we could place Jordan with a family member.
At any point in time, did you go to someone's house by the name of Jeanette?
Yes, that's correct.
Who was Jeanette?
Jeanette was the friend of Katrina in the same apartment complex where they end up rushing Mercedes to the hospital from that apartment, stating that she fell in that apartment.
What's the purpose of going to Jeanette's apartment?
Trying to locate an additional source of who last saw Mercedes alive.
Were you ever able to speak to Katrina?
We spoke to her, Mr. Adame and I both spoke to her briefly before she was arrested, I believe, at SAPD headquarters.
When you spoke to her, what was her demeanor?
She was still calm and asking when she could see Jordan.
Did she seem more concerned with Jordan than Mercedes?
That's correct, ma'am.
Did you ever speak to Jose at all?
I did not.
Do you know if your partner, Mr. Adame, did?
I believe he did.
After this situation and Jordan got removed, did you follow Jordan and kind of like her whereabouts after this?
I did all the way, I believe, for another 3 or 4 months afterwards.
Were you invested, or is that normal to kind of keep up with?
I think I was personally invested as well to make sure she was doing safe, especially after that traumatic incident. Because me and Mr. Adame did have to inform her that her sister passed.
So you and Mr. Adame were the ones that had to tell her that Mercedes had passed?
Yes, ma'am. We did that right before her child safe interview.
Did you observe her emotional state after?
I did. She came and gave me a big hug and, mentioned something that her sissy was no longer in pain and walking the golden streets. So she knew.
Sorry, I didn't understand that. What did you say?
Jordan stated that her sissy's no longer in pain and walking the golden streets.
Pass the witness.
Because, good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Teresa Conlon. I believe you said you were called dispatched, is the word the state used, dispatched for a child fatality?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, and what was your result of that? Indeed, there was a child fatality, is that correct?
Yes, there was a child fatality, ma'am.
Do you make any recommendations as to charging
As far as charging,
the crime?
no, ma'am.
Had you ever met Mercedes before this incident?
No, ma'am.
Were you familiar with the situation there?
No, I was not.
You made a comment, I believe, that Jordan, subsequent to the visit at the hospital was her happy self.
Yes, ma'am.
How would you know it was her happy self?
Just because afterwards, from what I observed of her demeanor throughout the whole investigation, the next 3 or 4 months.
So it was a retrospective analysis rather than at the time.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay. And you, I believe you said that Jordan was 3 years older, in your opinion?
2.
2?
Yes.
Now, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I can make mistakes what I hear. You said that she did not know what happened.
That's correct.
You believe that? Why did she not know? Did you ask her at the time what happened?
Object speculation.
Overruled.
I could not disclose any of the incident yet because she had to be interviewed by Child Safe.
So, but at that particular night at the hospital, you did not interview Jordan.
That's correct. I did not.
I'm sorry, because you had said that you interviewed Jordan. So,
That's the steps we take in an interview process. But regarding a severe case like this, we weren't allowed to interview.
all right, thank you. You did take photos, though,
Correct.
and you spoke with the dad and stepmom of Katrina.
Yes, I believe so, if I recall correctly.
And was that probably to find out if they could take Jordan?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, you set up the forensic interview at Child Safe. Were you the one who took her to Child Safe?
I was.
And did you watch the interview?
I did.
And how did she begin the interview with what happened that day?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Sustained.
I'd like to show the video. Yeah, Nora, I'd like to introduce the video of the Child Safe interview.
Is there gonna be any objection?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
All right, then, you'll mark it as an exhibit.
This, I guess, would be Defense Exhibit 1, but we're not allowed to have it, right?
No, the state was saying that they're not objecting.
But we're not allowed to have a copy of it.
Well, it'll be in the court's possession.
In evidence.
Should I have it marked as D1 or States 1? Or
Doesn't matter.
States 1. That's one. It's Defense 1. Thank you. Oh, no. You have to mark it too.
Oh, she's. Yeah, Teresa, I need it so I can
Good,
play.
right? You see that it says D1.
All right, so here's my question. Defense is offering defense exhibit number 1 into evidence.
No
Any
objection.
objections to defense exhibit number 1?
No, Your Honor.
And are both parties saying that defense exhibit number 1 is the child safe statement of Jordan?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then defense exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
Do you want us to publish it for you?
Please.
I'm fine.
The actual explanation of what happened. enough trivia to get her used to where she is?
I'm gonna object to she putting facts not.
Sustained.
Thank you.
And so the cameras are here to help us remember the things that you and I.
Fast forward a little.
And how old are you, Jordan? 6 years old? When's your birthday?
June the 2nd.
June the 2nd? Do you know what year you were born in? That's okay. Today, if I ask you something that you don't know, it's okay for you to tell me that you don't know by using your words. Okay? And that way I can understand. Now, you and I, we've never met before. Tell me some things about yourself, Jordan.
I love coloring.
Okay?
I love painting.
Okay.
And I love coloring, painting, and drawing.
Okay.
I love to color with different color markers.
Okay.
I love cake.
You love cake? Okay.
And I love the park.
You said the pie?
The park.
The park. Okay.
Because you can slide and there's monkey bar.
Tell me all about the park looks like.
There's a monkey bar and a slide and a swing.
Okay.
And there's a slide.
There's a slide. Tell me about what shape the slide is.
It could be triangle.
Okay.
Or straight.
Okay.
This way, or this way, or this way, or this way.
Okay. Now you said that you like to color and you like to draw. Tell me about the things that you like to draw.
I love unicorns.
Okay.
And I love princess drawing.
Okay.
And unicorns. A lot of unicorns.
The unicorns. So what do you like most about the unicorns?
They have this.
Okay. Do you know what that's called? That's okay. All right. And you said that you like to paint.
Yeah.
Tell me about the things that you like to paint.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Tell me about the last thing that you painted.
Pumpkin.
A
The
pumpkin.
big pumpkin.
Tell me all about what the pumpkin look like.
It looked like orange and it had a brown stick.
Okay.
And I colored it, I painted it all orange and all brown.
Okay. And where were you at when you painted the pumpkin?
At Hatchet.
At Hatchet? Help me understand what that place is.
It's school.
School, okay. And what grade are you in?
First grade.
First grade? Tell me more about Hatchet.
You get to go to STEM and art class, and you get to go to the park.
Okay. Now, when you say STEM, help me understand what that means.
That means you could do activities.
Tell me about the activities you can do.
You could play you could make little mouses and you could chase them.
Make little mouses and you can chase. Tell me all about the way you can make the mouses.
Like you put a machine in it,
Okay.
and then it goes this way or that way.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me some things about yourself, okay? And some of the things that you like to do for fun, and also about your school, okay? Now, I want to know a little bit about your day today, okay? So tell me everything that you did today, from the time that you woke up this morning up to the time that you got here to this place, okay? Just everything you remember, step by step.
I ate today.
You ate today? Okay. Well, what's the first thing you did after you woke up in the morning?
Went to the restroom and took a shower and brushed my teeth.
Okay, you went to the restroom, took a shower, you brushed your teeth, and then what happened?
And then I got my clothes on, and then I put in my shoes on.
And then
And
what
then
happened?
I went to go eat again, and then I went to go color.
Tell me everything you had to eat before you went to go color.
I ate cereal,
Okay.
and then I ate corn dogs and some French fries.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I come here.
Okay, now tell me about the place that you were at earlier today when you had the breakfast and you had the corn dogs later today.
The friend's house.
The friend's house? Help me understand what you mean by a friend's house.
Like, you know that lady that brought me here?
Mm-hmm.
Her friend's house.
Her friend's house? Okay, do you know the name of the lady that brought you here today?
No.
Okay. And tell me everyone that came with you here today.
Only Daddy.
The lady. Tell me everything about the way that the lady brought you here today.
With the car.
Tell me all about the car looks like.
It looks like gray, the top looks gray. And the bottom looks black.
Okay.
And then the seats are like this color.
Okay. Now tell me everything that you did on the drive here today.
Played with my stuffed animals.
Okay. Tell me everything that you could see on the drive here today.
The sky and trees and
Okay.
grass.
Tell me everything that you could hear on the drive here today.
Like roads
Like roads?
and cars.
Could you hear anything else besides the roads and the cars?
And music.
What kind of music could you hear?
Disney music.
Disney music, okay. Now what's the first thing that happened when you got here to this place?
I went over there in that room.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me about your day and about you coming here today, okay? Today I'm going to ask a lot of important questions, okay? And I'm going to need you to answer them just like you did right now, okay? Just everything that you remember, step by step, from start to finish, okay? Now today, if I ask something that you don't understand, it's okay for you to tell me that there's something you don't understand, okay? And that way I can ask you in a different way, or in a better way, okay? Now also, if I get something wrong, or I make a mistake, it's very important that you tell me, that way I can fix it, okay? Now also too, if I ask you something that you don't know, or that you don't remember, it's okay for you to tell me if there's something that you don't know, or something you don't remember, okay? I don't want you to guess. But if there's something that you do know, and that you do remember, it's very important that we do talk about it, okay? Because here in this place, we talk about things that have happened, we talk about things that are real, and we talk about the truth, okay? What does it mean to tell the truth?
I don't know.
And what does it mean to tell a lie?
I don't
Okay, now what color is this paper here?
know.
What color is the table?
Brown.
Now what color is my mask?
Black.
Okay. If someone were to say that this paper here is black, would that be the truth or a lie?
Enough.
And how many chairs are in this room?
2.
If someone were to say there's 2 chairs in this room, would that be the truth or a lie?
The truth.
What can happen to people that tell the truth?
They make good decisions.
What can happen to people that tell a lie?
They make bad decisions.
Okay. Now, while you and I talk today, do you promise to talk only about the truth? Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Jordan, tell me the reason that you're here today.
To talk to you.
To talk to me? Tell me more about it.
To tell you about my sister.
Tell me more about that. Okay. I talk to boys. Yes, I talk to boys and girls. I talk to kids about
things that have happened, okay? Has something happened that you're here today?
No.
Okay. Are you worried about something that might have happened?
My sister.
Your sister, tell me everything you're worried about.
I miss my sister.
Tell me more about that. Tell me more about your sister.
She ate a lot of food.
Okay?
And then that's how she got sick.
Tell me everything about the way that she got sick.
She got sick from eating yogurt, 3 yogurts. And she ate bananas, smushed up, and soup.
Okay.
And then she only drank water.
Well, what helps you know that she got sick?
Because my mom was feeding her, and then she stuck the spoon in her mouth, and then she accidentally stuck it right here, and then my mom pulled it out, and then she fell on the floor and hit her head on the metal thing.
Now, is this something that you saw, something that you heard, or something else?
Something that I saw.
Okay. Now, tell me, you said your mom was feeding her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell me everything that happened, step by step. Just how we practiced earlier about you coming here and your day, okay? Tell me everything that happened.
My mom was feeding her, and then she hit her head on the light bulb, and it was metal.
Okay, then what happened?
And then she fell on the floor, and then she hit her head. And then she went to the hospital, and then her friend took me to her house.
Okay. Is there a friend took you to her house? And then what happened?
And then I stayed there, and then I went to the hospital with my mom, and I never saw my mom again.
What's her mom's name?
Katrina Mendoza.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Ms.
And just for the record, I have stopped the video.
Ms. Rummel, is that how you call it, what you just saw?
The interview?
Yes.
Yes.
Was anything done about the fact that she said the mother was shoving a spoon down the child's throat? Was anything done about that?
Speculation.
Uncle Will, you can answer if you know. All right, so here's the thing. When an objection is made, I will respond to the objection. That's what I'm here for. No sidebars. You can answer the question if you know the answer.
I didn't. She was already. My main goal was to remove Jordan at that night.
Her main goal was what?
To remove Jordan that night to make sure she was safe.
But she said in this interview that an action was taken against Mercedes by her mother. Did you do anything about that?
I'm not the one to charge any parents.
The answer is no?
That's correct.
Did you report it to anybody?
Yes, it was in my investigation.
Do you have it there with you?
No, I don't.
Prior to this interview that you took Jordan to, did you interview files on this family?
I believed I looked at some of the history before going out.
And what do you recall about some of the history?
There was an open investigation because they could not locate the family.
They couldn't locate.
The family.
Who was in charge of that investigation?
I don't recall, ma'am.
But that wasn't your role.
That was not.
Did you check on any history with your department about Jose on how Ruiz?
We run history on both involved parties prior to going out to a call.
It's true there was nothing on Jose on how in relation to this family, is that correct?
I don't recall, ma'am.
Was there anything in your recollection about Jose Angel Ruiz anywhere in your records?
I don't recall.
Did you look?
Yes, we look into every involved family member, or that to be the case of being called on. I just don't recall.
You did know you were coming here today and that Jose Angel Ruiz is the person at the defense table.
I object to argumentative.
Sustained.
You didn't make any effort then to look into Jose Angel before you came here today?
Objection to argumentative.
Overruled. You can answer that question.
No, ma'am, because I'm no longer employed with CPS, so I have no
Oh, I'm sorry.
factors.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what did you say you're doing now?
I work for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I'm a captain at the Torres unit in Hondo.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Thank you, Judge. So I'm going to play the rest of this interview that's already been admitted, but before I do, just a few questions. CPS, that's not an arresting agency, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, whose job in this case would that have been?
The San Antonio Police Department.
Okay, and they also observed the interview with Jordan.
Correct, I believe so.
I'm just going to play the rest of the interview now.
Now, Ruiz, tell me your sister's name.
Mercedes.
Mercedes? How old is your sister, Mercedes?
5.
5? Okay. I want to go back to when you said that your mom was feeding her, okay? Tell me everything that happened before that.
And then they did bread, and my mom did a bread, and my sister's now.
You said they did a bread? Did I get that right or wrong?
Right.
Tell me more about that.
And they started doing this on her stomach so that way she could alive because she was not feeling good.
Okay.
And she was full already.
Tell me about the place that you were at the time when that was happening.
And my mom's friend's house.
Do you know that person's name?
No, I don't know.
Tell me everyone that was at your mom's friend's house.
Her little son and her that's it.
Okay. Tell me everything you were doing at the time when they gave her the bread.
Eating my food.
Okay, and help me understand who gave her bread.
My mom.
Your mom? Okay, tell me everything about the way she gave her bread.
That she put in her mouth and her mouth, and then she gave her bread.
Okay. Now tell me all about what your sister looked like when your mom was feeding her.
She was on a chair.
Okay. Tell me all about what her face looked like.
There was a little bit of scratches right here already.
Tell me all about the scratches.
Like last time she scratched herself too hard, and then this came off.
Okay.
Like the skin, one little skin.
Okay. All right. Tell me everything that your mom's friend was doing when your mom was giving your sister a breath.
Going upstairs.
Going upstairs? Tell me more about it.
Because she didn't want to see Mercedes.
Okay.
Because my mom didn't want her to see Mercedes.
Okay. You said she didn't want to see Mercedes because your mom didn't want her to see Mercedes. Okay. What was the very next thing that happened after your mom gave her a breath?
They took her to my mom's boyfriend's house.
Tell me all about that.
And then my sister threw up, and then she didn't come back to life.
Okay. Tell me everything about the way that she threw up. Did I hear that right or wrong?
Right.
What's that person's name?
Okay.
Jose? Okay. Tell me everyone that took her to your mom's boyfriend's house.
Only me and my mom.
Okay. And how did your mom take her to her boyfriend's house?
Because he lived right next to us.
Okay.
Because he moved in.
Moved in? Okay. Do you know his last name?
No.
That's okay. Now, what's the first thing that happened when you got to your mom's boyfriend's house?
Jose started patting her back, and then she was throwing up, and she wanted me to live with her.
Okay. Who was he patting on the back?
Missing.
Okay. And who was throwing up?
Missing.
Okay. Tell me everything you were doing when she was throwing up.
Holding her.
Holding her?
Yeah.
Tell me more about it.
Like I was hugging.
Okay. Tell me how her body was positioned when you said that she was throwing up.
She was laying down.
She was laying down? Tell me everything she was laying down on.
On the bed.
Here you go. Okay. Take your time, okay? And if you want to put your mask down or take it off, you can take it off, okay? All right. And you can put that here. I'll throw it away here, okay? Since she was laying down on the bed? Okay, and was the bed in the hallway, in the living room, or something else?
In the room.
The room? In whose room?
Her boyfriend.
Tell me everyone that was in the room at the time.
Jose and my mom.
Okay.
And my sister.
Okay, tell me everything that Jose and your mom were doing when she was coming up.
My mom started crying. And then Jose started patting her back more. And then he started giving her cream.
And then what happened?
And then they took her to the doctor.
Okay. When you say they, who's they?
My mom and Jose.
Okay. Tell me everything about them taking her to the doctors.
My mom left me at her friend. And then I started playing with the boys, and then my mom said I need to take her, and then my mom left me there.
Okay. And then tell me everything you did after that.
I went to the hospital.
You went to the hospital? Tell me all about that.
I ate a little bit of snacks. And then I watched Frozen.
Okay. And then tell me everything you did after that.
And then the doctor took pictures of my bones.
Tell me everything about that.
Like, I was standing, like, this was a wall.
Okay.
And then there was a picture, and they took pictures.
Okay. Help me understand who took you to the doctors.
That friend that my mom left me with.
Okay.
And then my mom's boyfriend got arrested.
Tell me everything that helps you know that he got arrested.
Because he had a gun.
Okay. Tell me more about the gun.
I don't know.
Okay. Have you ever seen a gun? Okay. So he got arrested because he had a gun. Now tell me all about what Jose looks like.
He has long hair like this, and he got some sweatpants like that on his legs, and then he got a shirt.
You have a shirt? Okay.
And then he was driving so fast that he got arrested.
Okay. Tell me everything you remember about when it was that happened, that they took your sister to the hospital.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. That's okay. Now, Okay. So you said you live with your mom and your grandpa Homer. Do you live with anyone else there? Your mom and your grandpa?
My uncle Rodney Elwood, and then Jemima Beltran, and then Jesse Beltran.
Okay. Did anyone?
And Angelica, just Angelica.
Okay.
I call her Nana.
Nana? Okay. And who, help me understand who Angelica is?
Rodney Elwood is her boyfriend. He got married.
Okay. Have you ever lived with anybody else?
No.
Okay. Tell me all about who Jose lives with.
His brother and his sister. 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay. Tell me his brother's name.
Ruben and Rocco.
Ruben and Rocco? Okay. Do you know his sister's name?
Missing.
Okay. Okay. Was there ever a time where you lived anywhere else besides with Homer?
No.
Okay. Now tell me everything about the rules there at Homer.
We can't go outside and we can't get no candy.
And who's we?
My sister and me. If we get in trouble.
Okay. Tell me everything that happens if someone breaks the rules out.
We can't go outside and we can't play.
You can't go outside and you can't play? Okay.
And then we sit on the couches and go to sleep.
Okay. When you say you sit down on the couches, help me understand what you mean by that.
We lay down on the couches. Me and my uncles, and my sister.
Okay. Jordan, has someone ever hit your body?
No.
Has someone ever hurt your body?
Only sometimes when my mom gets mad at me, she slaps me.
Tell me all about the way she slaps you.
Like in the face, or in the bum with the belt.
Okay. Tell me everything she slaps you with.
The belt, and that's it.
Okay. And tell me everywhere that she slaps you. The belt in the hand? And tell me everywhere that she slaps with the belt in the hand.
Right here and on my face.
Okay. Tell me everything you could feel when that happens.
I feel a little bit safe.
Okay. Was there ever a time where you had any marks or bruises on your body from her slapping you with her hand in the belt?
No, only a hand mark right here.
Tell me all about the hand mark.
Like it was big.
Okay, now tell me everything that happened that time, okay? Step by step, just how we practice.
Like my mom was hitting me because I asked for some socks to leave because I was going to a birthday party.
And then what happened?
And then my mom slapped me in my face because she was doing something with Jose and my sister, and they didn't want me to come in.
Okay, tell me everything you could feel when she slapped.
The red mark.
Red mark? Tell me everything your body felt when she slapped you.
It felt hard.
Felt hard? Okay. Tell me everything that you could see when that happened.
The red mark, like a hand mark.
Okay, a hand mark, okay.
And then I watched the TV in the living room, and then I started crying.
And tell me everything that your mom did when you started crying.
She was still in the room.
Okay. And tell me everything about the place that you were at the time when that happened.
At Jose's apartment.
At Jose's apartment?
When he just moved in.
When you said at Jose's apartment when he just moved in. Help me understand what you mean by that.
Like he got another apartment, but his bill was too high.
Okay.
And the water started getting cold, so my sister had to take cold showers.
Tell me everything that helped she know she had to take cold showers.
Like they put her in the water, and she started rinsing herself.
Then what happened?
And then my mom would have to hold her under the water sometimes.
Okay. Is that something that you saw with your eyes, something that someone told you, or something else?
With my eyes.
Tell me everything you could see when that happened.
My mom was holding her on the water, and you know the little thing on the floor?
Help me understand what you mean.
Like the water thing, not the shower head.
Okay.
The little thing on the floor, and you take a shower there, and then the water was running in her face.
And then what happened?
And then her toes were looking bad.
Okay, tell me everything about her toes.
Like this one was hairy, and this one was bruised.
Well, what helps you know that it was hurting and bruised?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, how do you know that it was bruised?
Because last time when I was going to my birthday party, she put her some shoes on, and then I said, come in, and then she come in, and then I accidentally stepped on her toe, and then she went out, and then I looked at her feet.
Tell me everything you could see when you looked at her feet.
Bruises.
Tell me everything that had happened to her feet.
Like they were bruised all right here.
Okay. All right. Help me understand how she got the bruises.
Because my mom started stepping on her feet, and then she got a little tiny thing right here, and then she hurt herself, and then Jose and Matt started putting thumbtacks in her feet.
Okay. Is that something that you saw, something that you heard, or something else?
Something that I saw.
Okay. Tell me everything you remember about that time, okay?
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. Well, tell me everything that happened that time, step by step.
She was in the closet.
Okay.
And then she peed on herself, and then Jose said, lick the pee, and then keep licking it and sleep there. And then she smelled like pee, and then Jose started putting thumbtacks.
Okay. Who was in the closet?
My sister Missy.
Okay. All right. And tell me more about the place that you were at the time.
Jose's apartment.
Okay. And where in Jose's apartment were you at the time?
In his room.
And tell me everyone that was in the room when that happened.
My mom and me and Mercedes and Jose.
Okay. Tell me everything that your mom was doing when Mercedes was in the closet.
Watching Jose, and my mom told Jose to stop.
Okay. Tell me everything that he was doing when your mom told him to stop.
He was getting thumbtacks, more thumbtacks, and putting them in her feet again.
Tell me all about the way that he was putting thumbtacks in her feet.
He was pushing them into her skin.
Okay. Tell me all about what the thumbtacks looked like.
Like, they were round, and then, like, circled, and then a pointy thing. at the bottom.
A pointy thing at the bottom? Tell me all about the way that Mercedes' body was positioned when he did that.
On the floor.
Okay, was she sitting down? Was she laying down or something else at the time?
Laying down.
Laying down? Tell me more about it.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. You said she was laying down. And earlier you said that she peed. And that Jose told her to lick the pee. Did I hear that right or wrong?
Right.
Tell me more about that.
He said to put your face in it.
Okay. And then what was the very next thing that happened after you said that?
She took a shower. And then she put some wood clothes on.
Okay. Now tell me everything that you could hear while that was happening.
I could hear screaming.
Tell me more about the screaming.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Tell me everything help me understand who was screaming.
My sister was screaming.
Okay. Tell me everything that you could see while that was happening.
I was in the living room, so I didn't really see much.
Tell me everything that you remember that you could see.
My sister laying down on the floor, in the back, laying down, and my sister saying no.
Okay. And then tell me everything that happened after that.
She started splashing her feet.
Okay.
And then, I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You said she was smashing her feet, and then what happened?
Then I went to the living room, and I got some shoes on because I was about to leave.
Okay. How old were you at the time? When that happened?
I was 5, and my sister was 4. And then she started turning 5, and then I was 6.
Okay. Tell me everything that Jose was doing when he told her to lick the feet.
I don't know what she was doing.
Okay. Was there ever a time where you saw something else happen to your sister besides that?
She was in the doctor, and there was cops anyway.
Okay.
And then one of the cops took me into the room, and then they gave me medicine because the back of my neck was hurting.
Okay. You said the back of your neck was hurting?
Yeah.
Tell me everything about how come it was hurting.
I couldn't swallow stuff.
Okay. Now, has someone else ever hit you besides your mom?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been hit with anything else besides the belt and a hand?
And chocolate.
Tell me more about that.
There was a blue big chocolate and a little big belt, like a small belt that guy has one.
Okay. Tell me all about the chocolate look like.
It looked like blue and light blue.
Okay. Now, earlier you said that your mom spanked you with the belt.
Mm-hmm.
What part of the belt did she spank you with?
Like the first part, she put it in half, and then she started walking.
She put it on half and she started, okay. Tell me all about where the belt came from.
From my mom, from me, because I had my belt laying on the floor, because they were little belts, so that way I could put like right here.
Okay. Okay. And earlier when you said that, Jose put the thumbtacks on your sister's foot, tell me all about where the thumbtacks are kept.
I don't know what you mean.
Tell me all about where they came from.
From the wall.
The walls. Tell me more about that.
He went to the living room and got some thumbtacks, and he said that this hurt, and he put it right here, and I said no, because I was scared.
Okay, help me understand who he did that to?
Me.
Okay. Tell me everything you felt when he did that.
Like a little needle, like right there, and then he took it out. He didn't put it all the way in my skin, he just touched me.
And then what was the very next thing he did after that?
Put it in my sister's arm, and then touched her.
Okay, and then what happened?
Nothing else.
Okay. Okay. Do you know if he has done something else to your sister besides putting the thumbtack in her foot?
No.
Okay. All right. Sorry it's taking me a little bit of time. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything, okay? Because everything that you tell me is very important, okay? Okay. Tell me everything that your mom does if someone misbehaves.
She doesn't let us get any candy. She doesn't let us get any, she doesn't let us go play with a friend outside.
Okay.
And she doesn't let us watch TV.
Okay. Tell me everything that Jose does if someone misbehaves.
Put them in timeout in the corner.
Okay. You said put them time out in the corner?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to earlier when you talked about your sister being in the closet and that she peed, okay? Tell me everything that happened before that.
She watched the TV, and then she put some more clothes on and some more pants on.
Okay. So she watched TV and then she put on some more clothes on somewhere else. And then what happened?
And then she kept watching TV, and then at the end of the day, she started being bad. But she was good at first.
When you said she started being bad, help me understand. What do you mean by that?
Like she started running around in the house.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then, Jose said, get back in timeout.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
Nothing else.
Okay. Was there ever a time where you saw, well, I want to go back to earlier, okay? You said that you saw bruises on your sister's feet. Was there ever a time where you saw bruises on any other part of her body?
Only on her face, and her face was bloody, like right here, and right here, and on her cheeks, and on her mouth.
Okay. Tell me everything that happened.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You said she had bruises on her face. Tell me everything that caused the bruises.
Spanking.
Tell me all about it.
She kept moving, and she didn't want to get one whooping, so my mom gave her 2 whoopings.
Okay. Tell me everything about your mom giving her whoopings.
Like, she started whooping her with the bell and the chancla and my little bell and nothing else.
Tell me everything about the way that she whooped her with the belt.
I don't know what you mean.
How did she whoop her with the belt?
Like she swinged it, and then she throws the shoe at her.
Okay. And tell me everywhere that she whipped her on.
On her butt.
Okay. Have you ever seen anyone else whoop your sister besides your mom?
Only Jose.
Tell me everything about Jose whipping your sister.
He has a metal belt, and it really hurts. And he put it, and he whipped her with the plastic, with the golden part.
Is that something you saw, something you heard, or something different?
Something that I saw.
Tell me everything that you could see that time.
Jose whooping her.
Okay.
And I heard scream.
You heard screaming? Okay. Tell me more about the screaming you could hear.
Like crying scream.
Tell me everything that was happening at the time when he whooped her with the belt.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Tell me everything that your sister was doing at the time.
Running around and going around the house playing with the dogs.
Okay, she was running around the house playing with the dog. And then what happened?
And then she wouldn't time out.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then Jose put her in time out, and my mom said, let her out, she was being good. And Jose started saying no.
Then what happened?
And then Jose put her in time out again.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then, I don't know what you mean.
Okay. I want to go back to earlier. You said that he whooped her with the belt.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me everything that you could see when that happened.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Tell me everywhere that he whooped her on.
On her butt. And he kept hitting her, and she got a big bruise in her.
Okay. Tell me how her body was positioned when he whipped her with the belt.
Like her hands were on the bed, and then she went like this, and then she put her hands right here again, and then he whooped her again with the metal part.
Okay, when you say the metal part, help me understand what you mean by metal part.
It's really golden, and he whooped her with it.
And tell me all about where that belt came from.
From him.
From him? Help me understand what you mean by that.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. And tell me how his body was positioned when he whooped her with the belt.
Straight.
Straight? Tell me everyone that was there at the time.
My mom and Jose and my sister.
Okay. Tell me everything your mom was doing when he whooped her with the belt.
Sitting on the bed watching TV.
Okay. And tell me again, where on her body he whipped her on?
On her butt.
Okay. Did he whoop her on any other part of her body besides her butt?
Right here.
I'm sorry?
Right here.
Okay. Then did he say anything at the time when he did that?
No.
Okay. What was the very next thing that happened after you whooped?
I don't know what you mean.
Was there ever a time where you saw him whip her in a different way? Okay. Was there ever a time where you saw Jose whip your sister with something different besides the belt?
Chancellor, when my mom was in bed.
Tell me about that.
My mom was in bed, and she was at work, and Jose started whooping her.
Okay. Tell me all about the way he was whipping her that time.
I don't really know. That's all I know because Jose, I was with my mom
You're with your mom at the meeting? Help me understand what meeting?
In like a job for computers.
A job for computers? Okay. And what?
Answer the phone.
And what helps you know that Jose whipped your sister with the jump?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I know it was a big chancla.
Okay. Was there ever a time where he whipped her with anything else besides the jump?
No.
Was there ever a time where you saw him do something different to your sister besides whip her and putting the thumbtacks in her feet?
No.
Okay. Do you know if he has done something to someone else?
No.
Okay. All right. Have you ever seen someone else get whooped?
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen someone else whoop your sister?
Only Jose and my mom. That's it.
Okay. And tell me everything about the place where that happened when you said that they whooped your sister.
Jose the point still. We've been using it.
Okay.
Because we don't have the house.
Okay. Was there ever a time where it happened at a different place?
No.
Was there ever a time where someone else saw it happen besides you?
My mom's godparents.
Tell me all about that.
Like my grandpa and my uncle and my nana. And my uncle's Cedric.
Okay. Tell me everything they saw.
Can I ask to stop this so I go out and stop joking?
Yes. All right, we'll pause it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to start deliberating internally with yourself or each other. You're not allowed to do any investigation on this case. You're not allowed to view anything about this case. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? I'm going to give you all a break. We'll be back at 2:45.
All right for the jury?